Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Noel and this is the Irish Zone. So as you all know, James Joyce House has been in the news lately. It's another building that has been earmarked for iPass, and I and another independent news outlet went there today to take a tour of the building and to speak to a person that is involved with a group called Independent Minds, who are taking action against the plantation in Ireland, not doing pointless protests but actually doing something of note and of worth. So we've got an interview coming up. There'll be a couple of links at the end of this. If you want to get in contact with these people, help them out in any way that you can, please do so. So we've got a little tour of the building coming up, and then we sit down and we interview one of these people. So enjoy it. Please share it as much as you can and get it out there. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to everything that is said in this video. Hello everybody, we're here at James Joyce House, and we're going to have a look at the building and talk to some people, independent minds. As you all know, this site has been earmarked for iPass, so we are going to enter, get invited in, and have a look around and show you guys what exactly is going on. So there's the building there. Right, so we're about to come to the door here.
I'll give you a tour of James's house. Which was planned to be an iPass centre owned by one of the biggest planners in the country, Seamus McAneny. And we'll give you a little tour of that place and show you some of the rails.
So we're actually here in James Joyce's house. We're taking a bit of a tour, as you can see, and we are now heading towards the basement.
Just take that mic there, would you?
So, got to switch on my torch. Oh, won't let me switch on my torch. Unfortunately, it's not letting me switch on my torch, guys. So we're heading down to the basement, and we're going to see a bit of history.
Function as it was. Go inside here.
Printing press there.
Joyce is the original printer.
Bit of history there, folks.
Serious history involved there, lads and ladies. You know, fireplace there. James Joyce was probably, had many a fire burning there for while he was down here writing his novels over the years. And here we've got an old room here inside. Another fireplace. Possibly another bedroom or another living area for people back in the day. So the closet, that's all waiting phone, that's
Yeah, same here. I can't put me torch on. Old coal bunker. Here, this is where James Joyce would have put his coal or got his employees or whatever. Right, now there be light. We are heading up to the next floor, folks.
Just to put the bedrooms together, that's
So as you can see, it's a pretty big building.
just gonna bring these upstairs here. Yeah, on your load there,
Old bathroom, folks. Probably where James Joyce would have took a dump.
Another functional toilet over here, thank God. For the homeless kid.
And we got a
Homeless people living here. Yeah. Go back downstairs. We have a chat downstairs, will we?
so we got another bathroom here, folks. Now, as I said, this building has been earmarked for iPass. So tell us a little bit about what you are doing here.
Basically, there's a couple of collaboration of a couple of groups working together, independent minds and a couple of other groups, a couple of other activists. And there's a, as I said, there's a large group of people in the background, so we're working together. And basically, what we're encouraging people to do around the country at the moment, rather than, well, not discourage people to stand outside sites, but what we're encouraging people to do would be to empower yourselves to know a little bit about civil law. I'll just educate the viewers a little bit about civil law. Once you're in a building, in civil law, the Gardaí have no powers of arrest, okay? So any activist that has experience doing this, they'll know that once you're in a building, the Gardaí have no powers of arrest. And I'd encourage people all around the country to occupy all iPass centres around the country, because what's happening in this country, the way to coin a phrase, what's happening in this country is the destruction of oil activity is happening right before all our eyes. And the majority of people are looking the other way, whereas activists like myself and other people are going above and beyond. And you know, as I said, there's people working in the background, there's people occupying buildings all around the country. At the moment, we have about 3 buildings occupied at the moment. 2 of them are iPasses. One of them was a home illegally repossessed by a bank. And as you've just seen in the video there, we have Irish homeless stuck in here. A lot of them are outside, the doors are locked, they don't intrude on them. As part of the video, we would appreciate if anyone has any furniture, beds, a washing machine we need, cookers, heaters, clean beds, stuff like that. Leather sofas, we do need actually a couple of leather sofas. There's large, them rooms downstairs we could fill up with furniture, you know, leather sofas as such, because they're massive rooms. So basically, people have taken it upon themselves basically to stop the destruction of oil by basically outfoxing the government and outfoxing the biggest planters in the country. And we're going into details about who owns this building. Who owns this building is Seamus Bonty McEnany. Now, Seamus Bonty McEnany is a man who's made, between him and his family, they've been involved in a lot of corruption, to be straight up with all the viewers there, up in Monaghan and stuff, and all around the country. Seamus was in debt, millions to the state, and suddenly went from a position to having, I think it was 12 million, I'm not sure the exact figure, he had millions wiped, you know, in this deal. And then all of a sudden, then he was, you know, he's involved in so many different things. But like he's, you know, from being a prolific gambler that was in the Rutland in 2001 for gambling, he's now gone to gambling with people's lives, you know. And that's this, to put it in a nutshell, to encapsulate what's going on in this country. We use my words as best as I possibly can, because people are saying, what does he mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that, in my opinion, there's been enough women and children in this country sacrificed at the altar of diversity. To put it in a nutshell, like we've had last year, like for years people are protesting at iPass sites, including myself, going from site to site to site to site. But I started computing figures for all these attacks happening, and in last year there was 98 attempted child abductions, right? There was over 120 stabbings, there was over 75 women raped, there was over 65 sexual assaults, and there was over, we computed, well over 100 public order incidents. Now the figures I'm getting, people are going to say, you know, where are you getting the figures from? I'm talking about what I see in my two eyes. But what did I not see with my own two eyes that happened out there? Because I've seen articles in the paper regards people, you know, fellas holding women hostage and raping women repeatedly, and then, like, how did I hear about that story? Basically what's going on in this country, we have mass corruption, we have the media is being bought out by the government, it seems, it appears, definitely, because most of the attacks that are referred to there, I think only 2 or 3 of them were actually in the media, you know? So, like, the majority of people in this country really need to wake up to what's going on and listen to people like myself and other people I'm involved with, that the government are extremely corrupt at the moment, that they're involved in human trafficking, to put it in a nutshell, yeah? And they're basically laundering all our tax money in this human trafficking scam, you know, and it's not just Ireland that's doing it, but we won't, like, England's doing it, obviously, and then in America it happened, in Portugal, Spain, Wales, Scotland, they have all these people coming in by the boatload, like, there's no end to them what's coming in. And a couple of things I wanted to say, so, like, basically, we have 335 iPass sites around the country, I think that's the last time I checked, right, according to stats, and we've pretty much lost every single site where people were standing outside, bar Coolock is now, which I was a part of from day one, right? And Coolock, that was the strongest resistance in the whole country, and credit to everyone that's done the work all over the country, and credit to all the people that came out to Coolock and stood with us and defended the Coolock camp and all the other camps. So, like, that said, like I've been saying to people about injunctions, we need to beat them with their own stick, lodge them, you know, lodge injunctions against these owners, these planters, these traders, whatever you want to call them, you know. And it was, you know, a lot of people weren't really, you know, they're not legally minded like myself. I have the legal knowledge that I have from being stitched up by the police. The last 31 years I've been absolutely terrorised by the police, because I had a set of balls to basically go above and beyond and try and liberate this country from the evil echelons of society, to put it in a nutshell. Because basically at the moment you have solicitors, banks and politicians all in cahoots with each other, and they've shafted loads of people since Independent Minds has been set up, and a couple of other groups, as I said, Boots and Building, stuff like that. Like, a lot of people have approached us and emailed us, and they've told us about political and banking corruption in their properties that they own, whether it be nightclubs, whether it be bars, whether it be houses and stuff like that. Now, I'm aware of a lot of that stuff, you know, some of the stuff I would have been aware of, but there's other stuff that's come to us that I wasn't aware of regards how fraudulent the government and the judicial system and the banks operate against people. Like, it really is an absolute scandal what's going on in this country. The fact that the majority of people are sitting back and allowing this stuff, you know, it's absolutely scandalous, you know. The majority of people, I'm calling the majority of people in this country to stand up and get behind us and support us and come on board. What we need at the moment, we need more volunteers from all around the country, from all walks of life, for people like me that has gone, you know, above and beyond trying to fight against the tyranny that we're ruled by in this country. The last 17 years I'm in activism, or 20 years thereabouts. Like, there's people like us out there that wants to bring about changes in this country, proper, you know, changes that will resonate with people around the country and say, Jesus, these fellas mean business, you know, and we do mean business. And, like, we are going to bring down the biggest planters in this country, and we're going to outfox them. And we have big plans for the future. I won't go in and give away too much information on the video, but I've been calling for the whole country to get behind us, because like, we have so many women, we've too many women and too many children being sacrificed at the altar of diversity. To put it, you know, to describe the situation as best as possible, just like Tommy Robinson said, you know, we really need to get active in this country, and we really need to support each other, and we really need to unite as a country. Like, there's so many things going on in this country at the moment that I could talk about, but I'm going to try and compress everything that's going on as short as possible, so people aren't looking at a long video for 2-3 hours long. Or maybe if I went into things in detail, I could be here for 3 months non-stop and wither away into nothing, telling you about the corruption that's going on in this country. But we'll just try and keep it, you know, short and sweet as best we can to make the video as effective as possible. Like the SPHE program, we have Roger O'Gorman, who posted on his Twitter, you know, according to the screenshots going around, that he loves mad porn, you know, and it was from his official Twitter. That was hush in the media, it wasn't exposed, you know. And then rolling on to, which backs that up, O'Gorman deleted 3 files pertaining information to hundreds of paedophiles that are raped children and missing children and stuff like that. And then Grip Media, Ben Scallon, fair play and credit to them, they're brilliant. and everyone else out there. But Ben challenged O'Gorman, I think it was Ben Gript it was, yeah, or maybe John McGough, but I think it was Ben. He challenged O'Gorman and he said in January 16th, as far as I remember, there was 66 missing children from Tuscalore, and Ben asked O'Gorman, what have you got to say? And it was very alarming, you know, especially after seeing the tweets that he loves mad porn, he loves masturbating every day on his Twitter, and he deleted all these tweets that I was seeing anyway, and they went viral. But he said it's not really an issue of concern when 66 children are missing from care. Now that's really, really alarming, folks. You really got to wake up to what's going on in this country. Like, and then by the 20th of February, this all adds up. Like, by the 20th of February, there was 266 missing children from care. And O'Gorman was asked again, what have you got to say about the missing children? And again, alarm bells, red flags all over the place, whatever you want to call it. He said it's not an issue of real concern. So we have really sinister people in government at the moment, you know. And I just want to raise people's awareness. Like, the last Minister for Children was Catherine Sapone. If any of you don't know about her, look her up online. Catherine Sapone was a self-confessed atheist, a black magic worshipper, a witch, you know. So how did that ever happen in a Christian-run country, like we're mainly Catholic here? How the hell was a woman that was actually a witch appointed as Minister for Children? And take it on board, right? And then fast forward, O'Gorman gets in, right? And then all this SPHE program dirt gets in, where for anyone that doesn't know, for wherever you see this video, from wherever you are in Ireland or around the world, for anyone that doesn't know, the SPHE program, they're actually telling kids in the books in schools, libraries and bookshops, they're telling children to fist each other's anal passage, and they're telling children to eat each other's scat, which is code words for shit. And they're also telling children to go on to adult dating apps, Grindr, to have sex with gay men. Now, if that does not tally up with Jews and resonate with Jews, that there's actual paedophiles in power in this country, you know, I don't know what will, you know. But we really need to unite as one and put our differences aside, leave your egos at the door, and unite as one and fight collectively against all these issues. Now, they're just a few things like this. Being like, think of 2013, from an act that's gone back, I remember there was 150,000 homes up for repossession in 2013, okay, by the banks. And out of them 150,000 homes, how many do you think went homeless? I'd say at least 20 to 30,000, right? And on average, every single year, I've noticed from my activism going back, I've noticed that there's at least 10 to 20 to 30,000 homes up for repossession every single year. So we're getting to my point here. RTE's figures, they massage the homeless figures every single year without fail. They're saying there's 13,000, they're saying there's 14,000 homeless. That's not the true figures. Anything that RTE says to you, you multiply that figure by about 10 figures, in my opinion. I'd say that the real figure of Irish homeless will be about probably 150,000 people, let's say, that's homeless, you know, between people couch surfing, between people, like a friend lived in a van 8 years, and I'm going to go into his story in a second. You people, you know, in caravans, people, you know, living in squalor all over the place. While, you know, the point is these people are getting shipped in from all around the world, and they're given 4-star hotels, they're given free e-scooters. We now know that Ukrainians are exempt from NCT and tax and insurance, that if they get stopped at the checkpoint, they say you're Ukrainian and they're waved on. We also know that the migrants are also not getting vetted for any jobs. We know that the PSA are saying in courses, because that first-hand witness is telling me, colleagues, you know that a friend of mine was in the PSA and he said, who's Irish, put your hand up, and who's a migrant here, the migrants put their hand up. And he said, the Irish, you have to be vetted, and the migrants, you don't have to be vetted, which is absolutely scandalous, you know, it's disgraceful what's going on. And then you have the taxi licenses. Since 2008, I think it was, the test rate percentage for an Irishman to pass, or an Irish woman to pass for a taxi test was 80% out of 100% for the questions. But that was the first thing I noticed. They lowered the test rate to 30% for a migrant or a non-national, whatever it was. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want to come across the people that wrong here and think you say, oh, he's a racist because he's mentioning non-nationals and migrants. You know, that said, many people from the EU bloc came into Ireland and they worked well, you know. They came here, they worked hard and they put the foot down, and they didn't come in to snatch children, to stab women, to rape children and force Islam on top of us and stuff like this, you know. And to go into detail about that, like, my father said to me a long time ago, he said that in Blanchetown Hospital, we were sick one time, he said that all the wards, the names of the wards, St. Bernadette, St. Augustine, St. Bridget's, were all removed because of people of the Muslim faith wanted them removed because it offended them, which I think that is wrong. You know, in my opinion, if you're from a different culture, I think what you should do in any country you go to, you don't come in and force your culture on other people. What you do is you adopt to the culture where you come, you know, instead of forcing your culture on top of other people, you know. That's my take on that there, you know. And there's a couple other things I wanted to say as well. There's like so many people around the country that's been ripped off, you know.
Just on his Banty,
yeah.
How much money is he making from this?
Seamus Banty McEnany owns this place, and he's made 115 million, was the last report I've seen, and that's between him and his sons and family, direct family members, you know, extended family members rather. And like, as I said, like, he was a prolific gambler in 2001. He was in the Rutland, and now we've been in a situation where Ireland's dealing with a man who's gambling with people's lives, for better words, because like we all know these people don't care. Like, it's all about money. It's human trafficking. I don't care what way anyone puts it. It's human trafficking scam, and they're money laundering our taxes to do this human trafficking scam. You know, there's a couple other things, Gav, that's going to be heavy. We're going to
So what is the goal of Independent Minds?
The goal of Independent Minds is basically to stop the destruction of Ireland and basically shut down these planters in their tracks, basically the traders that's, you know, selling the country out. That suddenly, you know, people, you know, don't seem to have, they seem to lose their moral compass when it comes to these plantations, you know. Like, we all know as activists, and even that's online, you know, if you're looking at RT News, you're going to be poisoned, you're not going to realise what's going on. And I suggest people stop watching the news, RT News, because you're just being poisoned with propaganda which suits their narrative. And watch the likes of pages like Gav Off with Ireland and Nolan and all the lads out there that's well known and Gripped and stuff, and you'll get proper information as to what's going on in this country, because the media at the moment are toxic, and they're covering up every political scandal, police scandal, left, right and centre, you know. And they're not giving us the full facts about the iPass centres and the amount of attacks. I actually seen an article the other day that RT released that there was 55 public order incidents in the iPass centres last year, which is absolute nonsense. Like, as I said in the figures I started, 98 attempted child abductions, 120 stabbings, 75 rapes, 65 sexual assaults, and over 100 public order incidents involving migrants, for anyone who doesn't know, so I'll connect with everyone, stripping naked, walking on the road, start masturbating. We seen another guy walking up the back of a bus and started having sex with a bus. Like, it seems to be like some of the African countries have opened up the jails and let all these scumbags come into the country, and this is not a slur against black people. There's probably black people watching it. The video I work for many black people, I have no problem, so everyone realises who I am and my background. I have no problem with any particular race. I don't care if you're from India or wherever you're from. I have no problem with anyone from this country or from any country. Sorry, if you're coming here and you're going to blend in and you're going to walk and you're not going to attack our women and children. But that said, at the moment Ireland is full. We're in a situation where all the hotels are maxed all over the country, and the tourism trade is dead. You're going to have less money circulating in the country, which is at the moment his business is sinking all over the place. Like in 2013 alone, I remember reading an article, which was one of the worst years of all mad shit going on. 1,300 businesses in Ireland went bust in 2013 because of the madness that was going on, you know, and the fact that these black hole banks, which screwed over a lot of people up the north and all over the country, they basically, like, Bill Gates was the biggest bondholder, which nobody really got to touch his base with. Like, we're all still paying universal social charge, the USC, for this man, which is the richest man in the world, which is going around planting, which he's poisoning the world with his vaccines, with his GMO seeds, Bayer. Now they have this tree up in the cows. They give him. I'd say to people about the mRNA vaccines and the cows, I wouldn't trust them. I've stopped eating beef. I don't drink dairy because of the dangers. Them mRNA vaccines, like we already know that graphene oxide is in the vaccines at the moment, and it's causing a lot of strokes, heart attacks, and illness in people, and that's all wrong. You know, what we have in this country and a lot of countries around the world, we don't have accountability for politicians. We don't have accountability for like Bill Gates. We don't have accountability for these people that are planting the country full of very dangerous criminals, as we know, you know, by the stats of all these attacks that's going on. Like, it really is disgraceful what's going on in this country, and I think people really need to wake up from their slumby sleep and like come to a point and say, if you want it to continue in marches, like, I'm not knocking anyone, by all means go to every protest wherever you can, but like, I've lost faith in protests when you're walking from the Gardner Amendments down the Custom House, or walking from one street to the end of the street to another. Like, it's time for direct actions. Like, last year I called for 4 Block Belfast protests, but we couldn't get the numbers. We called it out 4 times. I had to kill up and said no one had to go up, but we never went up. And then what else? Blocking Belfast Port was an option. Then I called for 4 protests last year for the Department of the Integration to go down and, you know, ruffle a few feathers with O'Gorman down there, you know. But one of the protests we got, I think there was 2 women, we got 4 or 5, turned up a handful of people, which is sad. A lot of people being work and stuff, they're telling me couldn't get time off or minding kids, which is understandable. So I just want to knock the torch off my phone here. But then we got a protest one day on the 13th of April last year, where we got about 65, 70 people down to the Department of Integration, and it's on a page on Facebook there. Dublin City Centre says no. And sorry, I just want to turn my phone off there, I missed the password 1 second.
So basically, Independent Minds is more about actually taking direct action rather than just turning up at protests and marching from one location to the other. Using the law of attraction. We want to attract people out there like ourselves that's had enough of the destruction of Ireland, that's sat back and seen so many women and children being attacked, sat back and watched the politicians, not one of the spineless bastards, come out and apologise to the victims of all these people that's been attacked,
to all the mothers that had their children attempted to be abducted, to all the women that was raped, sexually assaulted, and all the stabbings, and all the women and children being followed home. We've all seen this stuff online. Anyone who's following these channels are going to know what's going on.
Yeah.
We've all had enough. So anyone out there that wants to get involved with us, you're more than welcome. We're looking for more volunteers. We are active, and we have plans down the pipeline. We won't disclose the plans in the video exactly what, but we do have a lot of plans to occupy a lot more places, you know. So I'm calling on every single man and woman in Ireland who's concerned about the destruction of Ireland and sick and tired of what's going on in the country to come on board with us. And as I said, once an occupation starts and once people is inside these occupations, it becomes civil law. And the only way to get people out of these occupations, out of these buildings, is by an injunction.
Yeah.
You know, and if Banky McEnany wants to go to the High Court to lodge an injunction against people, well, there's going to be a whole, how could I say it? He's going to open a can of worms that he never wish he did, because there's a whole lot of people connected to us that know about corruption involving Mr. McEnany and a lot of other people he's connected to, with regards to banking fraud, political fraud, And for anyone who doesn't know, Seamus Banky McEnany was a GAA manager for a couple of GAA teams, and he owned a nightclub in Monaghan there. But as I said, he's destroying this country. Him and the likes of Healy Ray down in Kerry, they've no problem, putting, well, he has Ukrainians, I believe, but there's people just taking these people in, just that all of a sudden, like in 2013, as I said, going back to what I was saying earlier, there was 150,000 homes up for repossession, and there was no homes for Irish homeless. There was no money to build homes for Irish homeless the last 17 years I'm an activist, they just kept making excuses, and all of a sudden, fast forward to this year and the last 3-4 years, they're pulling out buildings out of the backside all over the place, and money awash all over. We're endless enough of money to house these people that we don't know who they are, and the whole reason it's happening, you need to wake up. The whole reason it's happening is because they're setting themselves up for life. These people, this bullshit is gonna come to an end eventually, right? Like every 14,000 of these migrants that they bring in, it costs the state, the taxpayer, us, the taxpayer, it's costing us 1,750 million of all our taxes. So if you want to continue to work, right, and break your balls every week, struggling to pay bills, I know a lot of families out there, they probably have €20 left for the week to bring the kids for a treat, to go to a cinema or go to the McDonald's, and they're, oh shit, I can't afford it, I can't bring all the kids, I'll bring her this week. People are really struggling out there to survive, and this is what I want, to touch base with you. You just really gotta wake up to what's going on and connect with the right people and trying to stop the destruction of Ireland, because as I said, there's so many people homeless in this country at the moment, and as I said, the government said they'd no money for Irish homeless, they'd no money to build homes, and all of a sudden, this last 3 or 4 years, it's just unbelievable. It's just these homes everywhere. This building here, they're going to turn into an iPass. All the places, Killock, Ballyogan, Finglas, Ballymun, Cherry Orchard, South Settler Road, Cork, Mayfield, Kilkenny, Burlington, Wicklow, Arklow, Rosslare, Waterford. There's so many places they pulled out of the bag. I could keep going on about this. If you look on government.ie, you'll see the amount of iPass sites. But it has to stop. We are empowering ourselves. Instead of letting these migrants get in that they're not being vetted, we are putting our own Irish homeless people into these buildings and helping them, and putting a roof over their head. That people that are at risk of dying, that's been left. We got a couple of people in here that was in the park across the road in tents, in sub-zero conditions.
Yeah.
There was actually a couple here that was actually, one day I was walking to the shop. There was a couple just 2 doors down at the bike shop that's just been sold, and they were freezing cold. I think it was -2, and I walked past and seen the tent, and I couldn't help but stop and ask them who they were, and gauge them as characters and see who they were. And they were, to be honest with you, they were in addiction, and they were waiting to get Subutex from to come off addiction. And it's understandable. People have hard times. People are abused. They don't cast a shadow on anybody. People have hard times in life. People are abused, and they end up in addiction, and they can never get out of it. And some actually go to their grave and never get their lives back together. But every human being has a right to get their life back on track, as far as I'm concerned. When people are in addiction like that, and everybody deserves a helping hand, But Irish-wise, I'm talking about. So we took this couple in here, and I never forget it. They were ringing me so many times, going, I can't believe this is after happening, because they were actually camped 2 doors away from an occupation where we're trying to help Irish homeless people. So basically, God sent them to us, and we helped them, and they're still here to this day, But we're reaching out to people. We really want people to come on board. So I'm reaching to every man and woman in this country that's had enough of this bullshit in this country and the destruction of the world and all these attacks. If you had enough of all these attacks, you've had enough of all the, paying taxes, breaking your balls every week, and you can't afford to put food on the table, you're struggling to put food on the table, struggling to bring the kids for a treat, you know, you're struggling to put diesel in your car, struggling to pay the maintenance of your car. I know, because I've been through it all, and all these things that I've experienced, you know. So I'm calling you all to unite with independent minds and all the groups around the country, myself, the Irish Patriot on TikTok, I am, and on X. Unite with us all, and let's work together, and let's stop the destruction of the world by outfoxing the government and these planters, traders to the country and the police by occupying all these centres that's going around the country. And as I said, the beauty of this, when you're in the building, it becomes civil law. So the guards, like at the iPad centres, we all seen down at the Gate Talk last week, we seen the guards going and kicking the shins off pensioners, 7-year-old women. It just has to stop. The same thing happened to water protests. For anyone who doesn't know me, I was heavily involved in the water protests. My court case named after me, the water protests and stuff. I was involved in the powerhouse occupation. I was involved in taking over a block of apartments and Finglas to give the Irish homeless people, but we lost possession. It's a long story. But and then I've been involved in Moorstreet battlefield site where the signatories of the proclamation, the last battlefield site, the Rising, when that was going to be knocked down, I was involved in that as well. I've been involved in hundreds of different campaigns, too many to list in the video. But so I just appealing to people, like you're getting involved with people that have had enough, that are proactive. I've been detained in prison 9 times, illegally detained. I have a high court case against the government and the police and the judiciary for filing hundreds of false charges against me because of who I am, because of what I do, because of what the people that's involved with me, we're all similar backgrounds, you know, we've just all had enough, and we're all being stitched up by the police and stuff like that at some stage in our lives, you know, and then we've just had enough, and we're just saying it has to stop. So I'd ask you all, everybody that's watching the videos, to please share the video far and wide on every single social media platform, ones that I'm not aware of, X, TikTok, Facebook. Share it everywhere, please, and get in touch with Independent Minds. I think Gavin Noel here is going to put the email address for Independent Minds at the end of the videos, or up on the videos. They'll edit it in, so you all know what email address to contact if you want to come on board. And if you have any, please
questions, or
if anyone out there has any information on political scandals that we don't know about, or banking scandals, corruption I'm talking about, or police corruption that we don't know about. Now trust me, I know a lot of what's in the public domain and some of the stuff that's not in the public domain, but is there anything out there that you think that you need to tell us, please get in touch with us and tell us about. You've been defrauded over properties, or you've been stitched up by the police like I have, and you've had relentless smear campaigns against you like I have, and lots of people have that I'm involved with, you know. To like basically to explain to people, basically I've been facing false charges all my life by the guards because of my activism basically. And what they'll do is when they see me in court, for that be there, and they'll run a story, oh so and so is far right, he's fascist. No such thing. I've worked with people all around the world, I have no problem with any race from around the world, which I want to emphasise that, you know, that the majority of us in this movement and all this says no movement are not racist people, you know, so I want to make that clear with people out there, any foreign nationals, don't be feeling uncomfortable. And also I just want to emphasise another important thing as well, that anyone out there that's frustrated with the destruction of the world, the things that's going on, don't take it upon yourself to attack a foreign person just because they're foreign. Please don't do that. I just want to make sure just make that very important. It's something you don't do to people, you know, just because, you know, people will lose their focus and you don't say they're sick of what's going on, and don't take it out on the wrong people. You know, you can't blame, you know, to be honest, you can't blame some people coming here because, like, the government's put out 12 tweets inviting everyone to come here for free homes, your own front door key, and your own welfare. So don't take it up the wrong people. Don't make yourselves look bad. Don't make yourselves look racist. You know, let's try and tackle this problem properly. It's the government who started this problem ultimately, you know, and the police are now enforcing these plantations all over the country. We need to fight these people head on. The courts are complicit in this, and all the, as I said, the politicians are all complicit in this. Markantino, O'Gorman. We really need to come together now as a country, as a nation, and say, right, we've accepted enough injustice in this country. We've accepted enough illegal home repossessions, enough pub repossessions, enough nightclub repossessions on people that where I know of cases which I won't go into. Some people might do in the video, and you know, some things I can't go into, but like a lot of people out there, this video will resonate with them, and by all means please get in touch with us and tell us about your experience that you had with the banks, with politicians and the police, about involving corruption and what they did, injustice to you and so on. Because as I said, there's an assembly of people in the background now that are, you know, very intelligent people like myself, and we're using our minds, as I said, independent minds. We're using our minds independently to certain people for certain things. But I'd also like to appeal for people like the likes of Patrick McGrail, any lady that can come in, to get in touch with us as well also, because we're going to need people in the courts when it comes to courts, case scenarios. And I'd also like to appeal to anyone out there like tradesmen and stuff like that that wants to be on standby to help us, because we're going to try and liberate homeless people's lives that the government are neglecting, you know. And one final thing just comes into my head before we go. There's a friend of mine lived in a van 8 years, right? And he's in a van 8 years, right? And he's been denied help from the government and denied a hostel or denied anything, right? He broke down in Offaly there last year outside a, believe it or not, a Ukrainian iPad centre, right? Now, I won't name him for his own privacy, but basically he broke down outside an iPad centre and he had no money, his engine was gone, he was in a precarious state, he had no food, no water, and for 4 weeks he sat in that van, right? And he was refused help at the iPad centre. He went over to the iPad centre 3 or 4 times to the Ukrainian place and said, can you please help me with food? I've no food, you know. And the actual Irish staff said to my friend, said, we can't help you because you're not Ukrainian. Now this bullshit has to stop, right? You know, people are talking about racism. Let's throw that into the mix there. Like, we'll explore racism a little bit more and its notoriety if we want to be honest and transparent with each other. Last month we had a jobs expo in Crow Park where they said, the cheek of them, migrants only, like that's racism there, right there. If you want to talk about racism, anyone's come around and call me racist and thread in the comments here, go for it, do your worst. As James Connolly said, if you strike out in prisoners, out of our prisons or our graves, we'll invoke a spirit that will perhaps thwart you and destroy you. We defy you, do your worst. And that's my mindset and what's going on in this country at the moment. I think like the rising leaders, and I think that's what should happen. You know, people really need to wake up on what's going on in this country and stop the destruction of Ireland and join us in independent minds and all the other collaborating groups that's collaborating with us. You know, and the lads are going to update the email and the contact details at the end of the video. Again, we call out for tradespeople. You know, call out for tradespeople and you know, people that want to come on board, lay litigants that help us with our case and stuff like that, you know, if we end up in court and stuff like that. And you know, just a call out to the men of Ireland out there that's had enough, the people that walked away from the peaceful protest. Please, I'm appealing to you, come on board and come and join us and join a proper team that's had enough, I've been in jail 9 times illegally detained. They tried to kill me last time for 4 years. They arrested me at the protest. If you look at February 5th on a Facebook page, Dublin City Centre says no. You'll see me getting stood all over by the police, getting battered, you know. And then on the 12th of June, the 3rd of March, you see me getting falsely arrested by the police online on that page. Dublin City Centre says no. And then on the 16th of December in court, I was standing in court and 15 to 20 guards just pulled me in the back of the court and tried to actually execute me. 5 or 6 guards took turns kneeling on my neck, like George Floyd died from one knee on the neck. Like 5 or 6 different men, well, multiple men were kicking the shit out of me. This is all part of a high court case that I'm taking. I already took a case against the state, but I need to add in these other incidents that's happened. So I'm appealing to like Patrick McGreal and anyone out there that wants to come on board and help with my case, and then help the lads involved with Independent Minds and the other groups, Builds and Buildings, that's involved, collaborating with us and help us fight against the tyranny that we're under, because we are effectively ruled by tyranny in this country at the moment. Whether you accept it or not, or whether you think we're far-fetched or not, look, you need to learn some more information and you need to listen to what we're saying and, you know, let this video resonate with, just because I've had to disclose a lot of facts, what I can think of right now in a short space of time. Is anything else that you think I've maybe missed out?
No, that's it. I think we've covered it fairly well now.
Yeah.
So please, lads and ladies, please, my employers.
So just one last thing, you said you're looking for sofas, heaters, what else?
Yeah.
What else would you?
There's a couple of beds. You seen that room up there specifically?
Yeah.
The bed. We left that room open where there's someone that's lying on. Let's like a couple of duvets. There's no room to make access to match. So we need a couple of beds. Anyone that has decent beds, you know, decent quality beds. Like we could actually do about 5 for here, 6 maybe 7. Yeah, about 5 to 6 or 7 beds we could do it here. We could do with a couple of leather sofas, maybe about the size of the rooms downstairs, and then in the bedrooms you could put them in. So we could get about 5 or 6 leather sofas, would be great, in good condition, that are usable. A cooker, we could do with a cooker. Anyone has air fryers that they're brilliant for little rooms, you know, small rooms for someone who can cook quickly. A fridge or 2. We could do with a couple of fridges in the rooms as well for all the lads actually. So 5 or 6 fridges, 5 or 6 leather sofas, maybe 1 or 2 cookers, air fryers would be brilliant. If anyone can afford it, just looking at this video and saying, right, I've had enough, I have a spare few bob, I can buy an air fryer for the lads, it's going to a good cause. You know, anyone out there that has any money to donate, you can, you know, I have a GoFundMe on my Irish Patriot page, or donate a few bob to Gav to keep him going, doing what he's doing, and the Independent Minds to keep us doing what we're doing, you know. Because as I said, it's very alarming what's going on in this country at the moment. You know, a lot of people are looking the other way because they're probably sick and tired of the peaceful protest and the way things have been going, you know, and people want to, you know, talk the same rhetoric at each protest, and people go home and say, what happened? Whereas there's people like us here that are active, we're taking a different approach to things. Like as I said, last year we had a couple of protests outside Roger Obama's Department of Integration, then we had a couple of peaceful protests at his homes. I was straight up here, I was involved there, I was there, but like, so before people jumped the gun, we didn't go outside and scream and shout outside his house. We were there peacefully to make a point, the fact that what's going on in the SBHE programme, we're disgusted with it. We're disgusted with the plantations happening around the country. We're disgusted with O'Gorman and McAfee not speaking out and calling out the crimes that they're committing against Irish people, attacking our women and children. You know, we've had enough and we're appealing to people who are, please get in touch with Independent Minds and come work with us and help us,
Fantastic.
volunteer your time and help us liberate this country and occupy more outpost sites all around the country. Erna Gabra, Joe Gabra, folks.
Thanks for that, Collie. Appreciate it.
No.